Hey, Denver Broncos fans, we need to talk about something that Russell Wilson said that just doesn't sit right with me. We've also got some news about the Broncos possibly losing some talent and maybe even gaining some compensatory picks. But first, let's dive into what Russell Wilson said that really got under my skin. He recently appeared on the Pat McAfee show, and honestly, it seems like this show just loves to stir the pot. Russell made some comments that seemed to throw Coach Sean Payton under the bus, and that's just not okay. It really upset me because he was talking about two great coaches, Pete Carroll and Mike Tomlin, and how they motivate their teams. While I agree that they are fantastic coaches, Russell completely overlooked Sean Payton, who is one of the best in the NFL at building a strong team culture and motivating players. What he said made it sound like Sean isn't on the same level, and that's just not true. We've got a great culture brewing in the Broncos locker room, and it's frustrating to hear Russell downplay that. Let's listen to what Russell said and then break down why he's so off the mark. I could spend 25 minutes talking about all the ways Sean Payton has transformed the Broncos culture. Take DJ Jones, for example. He's a free agent and could go anywhere, but he recently said this is one of the best locker rooms he's ever been in. You can really feel the difference. After the Broncos lost to the Buffalo Bills, we saw Nick Bonito getting trolled on Twitter because he was in tears. Multiple players were emotional, and Garrett Balls even mentioned that this is the closest locker room he's ever been a part of. Our quarterbacks are celebrating every holiday together and sharing it all on Instagram. It's clear that this team has built an incredible culture. This is why a team that was expected to be one of the worst in the league almost tied with the Buffalo Bills at halftime. They've exceeded all expectations, and a lot of that is thanks to Sean Payton's leadership. So, for Russell Wilson to say he's played for two of the best culture-building coaches and leave Sean Payton out of the conversation, that really gets me fired up. What Sean has done with this team is nothing short of amazing. Remember how Russell was known as Mr. Unlimited? He didn't even share his phone number with his teammates. Meanwhile, guys like B. Nick, Garrett, and Jared Stidham are hanging out at each other's houses, and their wives are best friends. If you wanted to spend time with Russell, you had to go through his agent. Marshawn Lynch even pointed this out. Sean Payton has made it clear that he wants his quarterback to be more relatable and connect with the team. He wants Russell to stop kissing babies and just be a regular guy. You can see this team is intentionally bonding, even planning a week-long road trip on the East Coast together. The team even planned a fun trip to a cool resort where they could paintball and go horseback riding. The players said it felt like a college atmosphere, something they've never experienced in the NFL before. So, when Russell Wilson makes comments that downplay all of this, it just makes me want to punch a hole in the wall. I know I sound a bit salty, but I'm living in Michigan now, and after 4 snow days in a row, my kids are driving me a little crazy. Watching Russell Wilson just gets me fired up. Remember when Russell was known as Mr. Unlimited? It took him until Week 15 under Nathaniel Hackett to throw more touchdown passes than he had bathrooms in his house. None of the players ever got to hang out at his fancy Denver home, and you never saw any pictures of them together celebrating his success. Russell could say that Mike Tomlin is better at making in-game adjustments or that Pete Carroll is a better strategist. That's fine. But don't overlook Sean Payton when it comes to building a strong team culture, which is something he excels at more than any other coach in the NFL. And honestly, it's hard not to notice that Travis Kelce's girlfriend seems to be more talented than Russell's wife. I think we're all thinking it, right? Anyway, let me know if I'm being too harsh on Russell. If you think I should just let it go, I can do that. But it really frustrates me, and I'm ready for the whole Russell Wilson saga to be behind us. He needs to stop throwing Sean Payton under the bus. That's just not cool. Sean Payton got so much more out of you than Nathaniel Hackett ever did, and that's not even up for debate. You played better ball in Denver this year than you did in Pittsburgh, and you even made it to the playoffs. It just frustrates me to no end. In that interview, Russell talked about how much fun it is playing in Pittsburgh because he has a lot of talent around him. But here's the thing. Part of the problem with you, Russ, is that we had to pay you so much money that we couldn't build a strong team around you. If you had taken a different deal, we could have brought in more talent, and maybe things would have turned out differently. Instead, we were paying you like you were Patrick Mahomes, but your performance was more like that of a backup quarterback on most teams. I don't like being this way, and I apologize if I'm coming off too harsh. Maybe I shouldn't even post this. On another note, there's a lot of movement happening with the Denver Broncos talent. A sign that Sean Payton is building a great culture is that other teams want to poach our players. They've seen how amazing it is to work under a coach like Sean. That's why so many people from the New Orleans Saints are coming over to Denver. They want to be part of what he's building. One of our assistant GMs is even getting interviews to become the actual GM for the Jets, which could be an interesting development. Lastly, there's some concerning news. The Broncos recently fired their special teams coach. We had all speculated that either Rizzy or Banjo would take over that role. Now, there are rumors that Rizzy might head to Chicago to work with Ben Johnson and the new staff there. It looks like the Jets are also interested in bringing Chris Banjo on board as their special teams coach. If Banjo takes that job, we'll receive a compensatory pick since he's moving up to a new position with another team. But that leaves us in a bit of a tough spot, like going to a dance without a date. We fired our special teams coach, and we were hoping either Banjo or Rizzy would step in. If both of them get new jobs, I honestly have no idea what we'll do next. There are a lot of rumors swirling around, so let me know what you think will happen. My hope is that since we have the richest owner in sports, they'll make a better offer to either Banjo or Rizzy, something that's way more appealing than what they'd get elsewhere. Coaching in Denver has its perks. Sure, Sean Payton might be a tough coach because of his high expectations, but coaching at altitude has its advantages. Punts go further, and field goals are easier. Plus, we already have a solid foundation to build on, and our fan base is excited and ready to support the team. In contrast, the fans in Chicago and New York, with the Jets, are feeling pretty frustrated right now. They were expecting big things, especially with Caleb Williams, but the team only won 4 games. They're ready for change. The Jets were even seen as Super Bowl contenders, but they didn't make the playoffs. There's a lot more pressure in those cities, and our wealthy owner can offer more money to keep our coaches.